Hello dear friends, after learning how to add a person, in this video we will learn how to add an activity. Activity is a very important category that allows us to add information about a person existing in the database. For example, Shafiq Hanna Tome exists in the database, but we have no details about what he actually did, where he studied medicine, where he worked. Of course, we do have such information. If we go back a bit to the AUB alumni directory, we can see that Dr. Tome was the manager of the Orient Hospital. He lived in a certain place at a certain address and of course completed his medical studies in the class of 1935. That is the most important piece of information that we have to add. Let's go back to Dr. Tome's page. To add an activity, click on the words Add an Activity. A new page will open at once. That is where you will enter the details of each activity. As you see, the first field is required and it asks what kind of activity we are dealing with. We have several kinds of activity: study, residency, work, military service, and affiliation. That is, what organizations the person belonged to. That could be a medical organization, but not necessarily. The most common kind of activity is of course study, and we will focus on that. Click on Study and a new window will open with rubrics for information relevant for that activity. You will see that the first two fields are from year and until year. Usually, if only one year is known, we will fill in until year, because we know when Dr. Tome completed his studies in 1935, but we don't know where he began. We will leave the first field empty unless we know for certain when he started studying. After that, we have the study level. This can be elementary school, secondary school, BA, and so on. In our case, it is medical studies. As soon as we click on medical studies, yet another menu appears, this time for the field of study. Here you can check more than one box. For example, both medicine and surgery. Make sure you check the right box. In this case, medicine. Next up is the study degree. On the right is an important list of common abbreviations where you will find, among other things, MD, Doctor of Medicine, and that is the first option on the list. Here, too, you can fill in several options if you know of them. For example, if the same person studied medicine but also took a diploma in public health or in tropical medicine, and so on. The next field is the institution in which the person studied. It must be chosen from a closed list, so it must already exist in the database. In our case, the American University of Beirut. You see that the list has come up and we choose from it. When the institution already exists in the database, naturally so does the city where the institution is found, and we can skip over the next field. If the institution doesn't exist in the database, open a new window and carry out the procedure of adding an institution, just adding the entity by following the steps in the Adding an Institution video, also available. When do we add a city? In two cases. If the institution is unknown, say a person studied in Beirut, but we don't know where, we will write Beirut here. Or, if an institution isn't located in a specific city, or is found in several ones, we will write the city here, to make it clear which one we are referring to. In the next field, where, we will fill in a specific address, or the name of a neighborhood. Very specific information goes here. After that, we have the More Info field. In this field, like we said in the Adding a Person video, we put only information that has nowhere else to go. For example, if you've used an external source, add it here. Write external source, semicolon, and copy and paste the relevant URL. Or, Use this for conflicting information, like if one source says that the doctor you are working on finished his medical studies in 1935, but another one says that he completed them in 1937. This is a conflicting information, and we will write here according to the source providing the conflicting information, and then the data. For example, we might write here according to the AUB alumni directory, and then the different information, for example, until 1937. In our case, Dr. Torme doesn't have any conflicting information, and we can continue to the next field. The next field is source, where we got our information. This is of course the AUB alumni directory. Again, this is a closed list. Your source has to already exist in the database. After that, you can quickly go over everything from top to bottom and then click on Save. As soon as you've clicked the Save button, you'll return to Dr. Torme's page, and under his biography, you'll see 1935, study medicine at the American University of Beirut, medical studies in Beirut for the degree of Doctor of Medicine. You can immediately click on Add an activity again to add the next item. I do so and go back to see that Dr. Torme was the manager of Orient Hospital. This is an activity of different kind, work. I don't know in what years, see the source doesn't say, so I won't fill in from year or until year. For institution, I fill in Orient Hospital. Again, this is a closed list in which Orient Hospital already exists, so no need to fill in city, as it's already part of the institution's details. Position, manager. More info, we have no further information, and our source, of course, is the AUB alumni directory. We now save this to, and again, after clicking the Save button, we are back on Dr. Torme's page and see the activity kind at the side. Thank you very much for watching. We wish you continued pleasant work.